Alright YouTube, you've asked repeatedly and I finally have an Emotiva amplifier in-house to review. This is the XPA-9, which is a 9-channel amplifier, and we're going to check it out right after the jump. Alright everyone, I want to take this moment to thank Emotiva for sending this amplifier in for review. Now this is an unboxing, overview, and first impressions video. I will be following up with a full review after I've used it for a little while. I like how the amplifier comes double boxed. We are greeted with an amplifier birth certificate along with some documentation. The amp is wrapped in a cloth, which makes it look super fancy. In the accessory box we have a 2-prong IEC power cable and a trigger cable. The XPA-9 retails for $2,000 and has 5 single-channel modules and 2 stereo modules. And this will power all 9 speakers in my 5.1.4 Dolby Atmos DTS:X speaker setup. Power output for the single-channel modules are 300 watts per channel into 8 ohms and 550 watts per channel into 4 ohms with 1 channel driven. While the stereo modules output 65 watts per channel into 8 ohms and 100 watts per channel into 4 ohms with both channels driven. Now this amplifier is modular, which means you can have a total of 3 to 11 channels depending on how you want it configured. On the front we have a plaque that states what the amp has inside. In this case it says 9, as you can power a total of 9 speakers. The 5.2S means there are 5 single modules and 2 stereo modules inside this particular amplifier. On the right we have the XPA logo, and in the center we have the main power switch. The light ring around the power button will be orange when the amp is off and blue when the amp is on. There is a large LED strip across the amplifier which shows the status LEDs for each amplifier module. When the amp first turns on, they will be red and then turn blue once they are active. Around the back we see all the connections for each module. Let's start on the left side of the amp. From top to bottom we have a trigger input and output, a switch to turn the status LEDs on the front of the amp on and off, circuit breaker, power port, and main power switch. To set up this amp to turn on when you turn on your AVR or Pre-Pro, you need to connect the trigger cable and turn on this main power switch on the back. Once that's done, this amplifier will turn on when you power on your AVR or your Pre-Pro. The main part of the rear panel are the inputs and outputs for 9 channels. In the center, we have 5 high-power single-channel inputs and outputs, and on each side, we have 1 stereo pair of inputs and outputs. The 5 single-channel modules will power my ear-level speakers, left, right, center, surround left, surround right, and the 2 stereo modules will power my 4 height channels. The XPA-9 has support for both unbalanced RCA connections and balanced XLR connections. If you don't know the difference between balanced and unbalanced, I made a video about it that I'll link in the description and up top. There is a selector switch on the single channel modules, up for RCA and down for XLR. For selecting RCA or XLR on the stereo modules, there is a blue button. If it's pushed in, it's set up for XLR, and if it's pulled out, it's set up for RCA. Now if you've enjoyed this video so far and are into home theater and audio, you should subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified when I release another high quality video like this one. Alright, so in this setup, I'll be using the Denon AVR X6500H AV receiver to connect 9 channels to the XPA-9. As for speakers, I have 5 ear-level speakers, and those are all Miller & Kreisel S150 series. These are 4-ohm speakers with a power handling of 500 watts RMS, so these speakers should easily handle the 550 watts that the XPA-9 is outputting. As for my height channels, I'll be using the prime elevation speakers I've previously mounted to the beams running across my ceiling. Now, a funny little thing about this setup, you know, my rack is actually behind the TV, so I had to kind of move things around, dismantle the whole thing, put the XPA-9 in, and then start putting the other pieces of the rack together and, the other equipment on top. And as I was plugging stuff in, I kind of hit the little button on the stereo module, and when I went to run Odyssey on the Denon, it wouldn't see any of my high channels. So in the whole process of getting the amp in place, I accidentally hit those buttons. So if you're having an issue like I did where your AVR doesn't see any high channels or any of your other channels, just double check to make sure you didn't accidentally bump the buttons like I did. Now it's time for my first impressions of the amplifier. Immediately I noticed a difference in the THX speakers, as we're pretty much doubling the power than what I had previously. I was running, 255 watts per channel into the THX speakers. Now 550, yeah, pretty much double, a little bit more. So that's pretty cool. And the speakers really loved it. I watched Aquaman. I even bought a THX demo. I have the new IMAX Enhanced demo disc, and there's just more presence, more punch, more clarity. So far, this amp is doing a great job. And like I said before, I will be doing a full review after having it for some time. I do want to thank Emotiva for sending this over for review, so thank you guys. And if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know down in the comments below, or hit me up on whichever social platform you like to use the most. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. So if you liked it, go ahead, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel using the button in the middle of your screen. Once again, my name is Chana D. I'm your Techno Dad, and I'll see you next time.